Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August 12th, 2020 East Whiteland Township Board of Supervisors meeting. At this point in time, I'd like to start the meeting with the call of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
Of the
of the
United
United States of America,
America,
to the republic
for which it
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
under
God,
visible,
indivisible, with liberty
and
and justice for all.
Thank you. Beginning with the board briefing underneath 2A, talk about, we held executive sessions were held on July 16 at 11 a.m. for legal issues. Also on July 23rd at 11 a.m. for legal. And today at August 12th at 5 o'clock for legal, personal, and real estate issues. Next on the agenda, we have a guest speaker from Chrissy Houlihan, Republican, or Representative Chrissy Houlihan, and that would be John Kern. Is he available?
I just let Mr. Kern in from the waiting room.
Okay.
There he is.
So again, this is U.S. Representative Chrissy Houlihan's Representative John Kern to talk about, I think, some updates, what's happening from Washington.
Yes, good evening. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties on my end. Thanks for bailing me out there, Donna. Yeah, so I did want to take a few minutes to introduce myself. I wanted to thank the board and folks of East Whiteland for the opportunity to address you. My name is John Kern, and I am a constituent advocate for U.S. Representative Chrissy Houlihan. For those of you who don't know, Representative Houlihan, this is her first term in Congress, and the 6th Congressional District has recently redrawn its line. So now it includes all of Chester County and the southern parts of Berks County to include Reading. I really just wanted to give an opportunity to connect with you and provide updates and information about the services our office can provide. Chrissy is a 3rd-generation veteran, an engineer, entrepreneur, and educator. She serves on the Armed Services, Foreign Affairs, and Small Business Committees. We have 3 offices in Reading, Westchester, and in Washington. Our hours of operation are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. While we're working all remotely, we return all calls day of. So please, if you have any issues, please reach out to us. Our DC office handles legislative matters, so that's bills, letters to executive agencies, and committee hearings. Our district office, with constituent advocates like me, serve 2 primary functions. Outreach, so connecting with partners in the community, business, agricultural, schools, nonprofits, and local governments. The other key piece of work we do in the district is casework. And what that is advocating for constituents with federal agencies like the VA, the IRS, immigration, and housing issues. Our office also assists community stakeholders like the township supervisors with federal grants. If you're ever pursuing a federal grant, please let us know. And if we can, we'll be able to write a letter of support, which we'll make sure that that agency will give full and fair consideration to it. Not all representatives provide this service, but we are proud to do it as a way to return those federal dollars to the community. As of this week, the office has closed 1,398 cases for constituents and returned over $3.5 million to the district. We've received over 130,000 calls, emails, and letters, 36 of those since COVID-19. We've also held 26 town halls. Legislative work in the last few months, you may be familiar with the Families First Coronavirus Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, that's the CARES Act, the National Public Health Corps Act, and the HEROES Act, which is awaiting a vote in the Senate right now. All of these include measures to address the spread of coronavirus, stimulating the economy, creating national public health service program, and providing much needed assistance, as you all know, to state and local governments. Outside of COVID related legislation, Chrissy voted for the Invest in America Act, which invests nearly $500 billion in our country's infrastructure, highways, bridges, transit rail, airports, and school infrastructure, modernizing the infrastructure for clean energy future and affordable housing. So at this time, if there are any questions for me from either the board or constituents, I'm happy to field them at this point.
I'm good.
Great.
John, is there any pending important legislation that could affect East Whiteland Township?
I mean, I think at this point, we're just waiting for negotiations on the HEROES Act, which I had mentioned. That was the latest relief bill from the Senate, or that the House had passed, that we're waiting for the Senate. That would extend unemployment insurance and have another round of economic relief payments for those eligible. That's the biggest one that comes to mind now. I'm happy to look into any particular bills at this, if anyone would be interested.
John, is Chrissy up here now, or is she still down in Washington? I lose track of when they're in session and when they're not.
Yeah, the last few weeks have been kind of up in the air whenever the leadership comes to an agreement on something. She is in the district now. We volunteered cleaning up the Medal of Honor Grove. We've met with a number of groups in the district, both in person, socially distanced, and Zoom meetings like this. Her focus this week is in the district, meeting with constituents, though.
Okay.
Well, tell her we think she's doing a great job, and we're going to work for her reelection.
Great. Well, I do appreciate that. At this point, I just want to remind folks to participate in the 2020 census. That's a big way that the federal government measures how money gets back to districts and school district borders and your representation in the federal government. You should have palm cards coming to you. If you haven't already gotten them, please connect with me. And stay up to date on Representative Houlihan's website, houlihan.house.gov. And if anyone has any other questions, Donna has my email address, or call the office, and I'm glad to connect with you on any of those issues. But other than that, if there's nothing else for me, I have to hop off and talk to Schuylkill Township next.
Okay. Well, John Kern,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you all. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Continuing on with the agenda will be 2C. 2020 continues to be a challenging time for the township in terms of events occurring. Following the tropical storm that hit us last week, we want to commend our public works, our police, our fire crews who assisted our residents. We had water rescues, we had downed trees, disabled cars. We unfortunately even had a house collapse from a downed tree. And our first responders, once again, stood out and did a fantastic job. And there were too many people to mention, but if you see any of them, thank them. They did a great job.
Scott, I don't know if the police chief wanted to make any comments. He had put some thoughts together for tonight as well.
Sure. Chris, are you?
No, I don't see Chris on here. Oh. You're on mute.
John, you're on mute.
Chris, you're on mute.
Okay.
Too many on mute. Now we're both on, so I'll be off. Let Chris talk.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say I sent out an email to some of the other department heads and congratulating everyone. I've been here for 34 and a half years, and I don't think I've ever seen such a perfect, it was almost like a ballet. No matter what came up, it was taken care of quickly, efficiency, generators for all the traffic lights. And it was just a storm. It just like hit very hard, very fast, and just affect everything. And technically to all the township administration too, because our generators and everything kept us up on the station, and just everything came together so smooth. It was just, I've never seen it happen so smooth for just one storm. So it's just an all around congratulations to everybody in the fire department, public works, police, and really the administration who was there taking calls and moving things along. So I don't know how else to say. It was just, you just kept waiting for something to go really, really wrong, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard nothing but positive things from a lot of residents and a lot of social media positive comments. So again, it's been a challenging year, and I hope we don't have to review any of this going further, but they did a good job. And Chris, you did a great job as well, you and your team.
Thank you.
Next, we wanted to have a short statement from Steve Brown pertaining to recent activities and discussion about property management codes and what the township is doing in terms of reviewing and our processes going forward. Steve, I'll give it to you.
Thank you, Scott. I want to just make a statement about the township's property maintenance program as it exists today and efforts moving forward. The township at this point does not have a dedicated code enforcement officer or program focused on property maintenance issues. Instead, it's the responsibility of the zoning officer and some other personnel in the Department of Codes and Life Safety. The township does review the need for such a program on a recurring basis. And based on our research, the township would need additional employees to implement a full-fledged property maintenance program. With that said, we do enforce the 2009 International Property Maintenance Code, which regulates the upkeep and maintenance of the exterior and interior properties so that basic livability and safety standards are met. The system of enforcement is complaint driven. In light of recent events, the township has determined to make property maintenance enforcement more of a priority. The zoning officer will focus efforts on the most egregious violations of the code throughout the township. In fact, those efforts have been underway throughout the summer. Further cooperation and communication between the Department of Codes and Life Safety and the Police Department has already begun and will take place on an ongoing basis. And finally, there will be continued discussions held during our 2021 budget process, which is underway now, about dedicating more resources to property maintenance enforcement.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add to that? Okay. Moving on to the public hearing under item number 3 on the agenda. I'll turn it over to our solicitor, Joe McGrory, who's on the phone, talk about conditional use hearing and a liquor license transfer. Joe?
At this time, I'll open the hearing for the conditional use hearing for Woodwalk Hotel and introduce into the exhibits, into the record, the following board exhibits. Board Exhibit B7 is the July 7th, 2010, and July 7th, 2020 correspondence from the applicant's attorney agreeing to continue the hearing through August 30th, 2020. Board Exhibit 8 is a proof of publication of the legal notice of the continued August 12th, 2020 hearing in the Daily Local on July 29, 2020 and August 5, 2020. Board Exhibit 9 is the affidavit of prior posting of the property for the continued hearing of August 12, 2020, dated August 3rd, 2020. There's also an applicant's exhibit. Since I'm one exhibit, I'll list this one too, and it's applicant's exhibit 14. It's an affidavit of notice of the continued August 12, 2020 hearing to adjoining property owners. With that, I'll hand the floor to Allison Zarrow to complete the record.
Thank you, Mr. McGrory. Good evening, board members. This evening, you may recall that the last in-person meeting that I believe you folks had back in March, we presented our conditional use application on the request for steep slope relief. At that time, we also had a variance application pending for a small area of disturbance of very steep slopes. That hearing proceeded on July 27th before the zoning hearing board, and the zoning hearing board did grant that relief. So we did want to enter that information into the record for you. Knowing that this hearing was several months ago, if the board has any other questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Are there any questions from the board?
I have none.
Okay, and are there any questions from the audience or comments?
No, there are not.
All right, so at this time, we'll close the record, convene into the public meeting portion of the agenda. This application is now in a position for you to vote tonight, and the decision's already been drafted, signifying an approval if you so desire.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion from.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use request for Oakwood Waterwalk. The approval under section 200-57F of the Township Code to disturb areas of steep slope for road and parking lot uses for 85 Matthews Road.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Allison.
Thank you.
The next hearing is for an intermunicipal liquor license transfer for Malvern Cpc Llc. The transfer from Thornbury Township to the Grove, located at 10 Liberty Boulevard, East Whiteland Township. It's anticipated to be at Chicky and Pete's. The want to introduce the following board exhibits. Board Exhibit 1, the proposed resolution granting approval of the license. Board Exhibit 2 is the July 16, 2020 letter to the township from the applicant's attorney requesting approval of the liquor license transfer with an application fee. Board Exhibit 3 is a legal notice of tonight's public hearing. Board Exhibit 4 is the proof of publication of the legal notice of tonight's hearing in the daily newspaper dated July 29, 2020 and August 5th, 2020. I also have some pre-marked applicant exhibits. Exhibit 1 is a floor plan of the Chicky and Pete's restaurant. A2 is a depiction of area location at the Grove. A3 is an architect's conceptual renderings for the restaurant. And A4 is the menu for the restaurant. The attorney earlier today asked me if he can proceed by doing an offer of proof and just summarizing what he's asking for. I found that to be acceptable if it's okay with the board.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so this time I'll recognize the attorney, Edward Taraskis. Is he on the line?
He's muted.
You just
He's on
prompted him
mute.
to unmute. We'll give him just a second.
All right. I'm back. Can everyone hear me? This is Ed Taraskis.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. All right. I'll get the hang of it. I represent Malvern Cpc Llc in its application for a intermunicipal transfer of a Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board restaurant liquor license to be located in East Whiteland Township. The license, which has number R-21462, has been issued to 840GCG Inc. for use at 840 East State Street in Westchester, Thornbury Township. That's where it's coming from. Now, my client is proposing to move it to that license, if the board agrees, to 10 Liberty Boulevard in Malvern. And I have with me, I believe on the line, is Mr. Peter Cherokee.
Good evening, everyone.
Who is the managing member of Malvern Cpc Llc. I provided 4 exhibits: a floor plan of the restaurant, an area site plan of the Grove, the renderings of the proposed building, and a copy of the menu. Malvern Cpc Llc is part of the Chicky and Pete's restaurant operations, which has been, the chain has been operating for 43 years. It has 13 full-service restaurants in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And in addition to that, there are 50 venue locations, like in stadiums, arenas, and down on boardwalks. The 13 restaurant locations are all company owned, and this location will also be company owned. Now, Malvern Cpc is seeking a liquor license to simply to accommodate its food sales. Now, the food sales, the projected ratio is 70% food and 30% liquor. With the area site that was provided, that gives the location of the restaurant location in the Grove, and there is the floor plan indicates that it's going to be a total square footage of 8,500 square feet of the for the restaurant, and it will be a full-service restaurant offering lunch and dinner. The type of food which will be offered will be American fare with an emphasis on seafood, as depicted in the sample menu.
And crab fries, a lot of crab fries.
There you are. Thank you. And thank you, Pete. And they will operate 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. The restaurant will accommodate 260 patrons. The bar will have a seating capacity of 36 patrons. There'll be 2 outside dining areas, which are located on the right-hand side of the floor plan. One which is in the lower right portion, is a 14-seat area, which is a totally outside, doesn't even have any canopy on top of it. And then there is along the side of the diagram on the right-hand side, there is a beer hall, which is indicated. That will have 68 seats. And that will have roll-up walls or
Garage door stuff.
windows, garage doors. That's to allow people to be able to be in the open air situation, much like is required now of the general public and the restaurateurs during this COVID situation. Now, the total number of employees will be 160 employees. 20 of them will be full-time. 140 of the employees will be part-time. And as always, Chickie and Pete's will be hiring from the local area. The PLCB has a educational program, which is known as the RAMP, Responsible Alcohol Management Program, which instructs the employees and the general staff as to preventing sales to minors and preventing sales to visibly intoxicated patrons. Malvern Cpc Llc will be RAMP certified, and all the employees will be also RAMP certified. To work there, you have to be RAMP certified. And to further prevent sales to minors, Malvern Cpc is going to require proof of age, photo ID, and that photo ID will be swiped through a transactional swipe machine to verify the authenticity of the proof of age that is being provided by the youthful patron. Overall, Malvern Cpc is going to be investing $3.5 million in the development of the site. And with that, I will. Are there any other questions that you may have?
Edward, this is Scott. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
When is the projected opening for Chickies and Pete's?
I have to defer to Pete.
It would probably be, would it be within the year, 12 months from now, between the approvals, and then it'll probably take 9 months or a little less than that to build. Since we're doing an extensive remodeling and building, and that $3.5 million is a lot of money, and it's because we're going to do a lot of work.
Sure. Let's certainly hope that in that time frame, this COVID pandemic is behind us. But in the event that it's not, would you be looking to do outdoor seating beyond what you're seeing in the renditions of your drawings?
We figured the outdoor seating that we have there now, which will be a 3-season room, which all the doors sides will open. I doubt we will need anything else. I mean, if there was something that indicated where you couldn't use that, then of course, yes. But we should have enough right there. That's why we put that room in there, because we know that this could happen again, and probably, hopefully it doesn't happen again, but it might.
And that is the beer hall, which I referenced.
But we were looking at this diagram. Which part is the part that opens? The dark colored part or the light colored part? Can you see what we're looking at?
So do you see the part that it'd be the light colored part?
The light colored part. Okay.
Right.
And that's closest to Liberty Boulevard?
That's closest to the Liberty Boulevard is, I don't have Liberty.
Across from the hotel?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This
yes.
is the old Wawa site. The Wawa is in that area, right?
Not that, no. I don't believe Wawa was there was a Wawa at this location?
Yeah, I think so.
It was, yeah, I'm not familiar with it then.
Okay. And my last question, are you the Pete of Chickie and Pete's?
I am Sue.
All right. Well, what a thrill to meet you.
Not that big of a deal, but thanks.
We're looking forward to having you open up. I'm sure we'll give you lots of business as soon as we're allowed out.
Yes, and hopefully we will get, hopefully people are allowed out before this opens, but when we do open, you're all welcome to come in and enjoy Chicky and Pete's. I think will be a nice added attraction to a wonderful area. We've been looking at Malvern for a long time, and we're looking forward to the opening there.
We will be there, guaranteed.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Joe McLaury. Will you be having any live music outside?
Joe, we don't have any entertainment now in Chicky and Pete's. Maybe just like on St. Patrick's Day, we might have something like bagpipes or something like that. But we have it's mostly sports, so we don't like to wash out the music washes out the sports and the people are watching the games. So it's more sports oriented. But once in a while, you do have an acoustical guy, but no kind of band, drums, stuff like that. No.
We had an issue with a microbrewery in the township where they would have Penn State games, and everyone in the neighborhood heard rather loudly, "We are Penn State," into the wee hours of the morning. Is that something you're going to have a TV set up and a crowd to watch a game outside?
No, we don't have any outside. It's going to be inside, and obviously, if it's cold out, they're not going to. The windows will be closed, but there will be not that kind of. We have never had any kind of "We Are Penn State" yet, ever. Not to say that it has never happened to Chicky and Pete's.
We don't have much the same kind of neighborhoods in that area, so
There's no
I'm
residential.
not too
around
worried
here.
about that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right, good.
And there's
Does
nothing
board have
wrong.
any other?
But I do wish Penn State well because that's good for
Yes.
business.
I was going to say, and there's nothing wrong with Penn State.
No, we love Penn
Absolutely.
Not
We
at
State.
all.
do
They might
love
not be
Penn
playing
State.
this year. Unfortunately, they might not be playing this year.
Yeah, no, not right away.
Right.
Yeah, they already made the decision not to play.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
tough.
This
Pete, I
is
have a question regarding security.
Hmm.
If you don't mind, I don't know what your business model is, but is there any security as a matter of right on a normal or even like say a Friday or Saturday night to make sure that
Let me say that we have it's 70% food, 30% alcohol at our place. It's more of a restaurant, a restaurant disguised as a bar. It gives you the appearance of a bar, but we do, if that calls for it in that area, we will have security, of course. If that's what it calls for. I doubt that that's going to happen, but we will have security just for the people to be carded, if anything like that. But we don't, in all our restaurants, we don't have security, especially in the suburbs, because it's more of a restaurant.
Yeah, I was just looking just because of the sheer numbers, not that it's necessarily a bad location. It's a good location.
Yeah.
Just because of the numbers.
Yeah, like our South Philadelphia location, our Drexel Hill location, we do. So yeah, I guess we probably would.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions?
And one quick question, Pete. Again, this is Scott Lambert. We recently implemented a contact tracing request to restaurants. We're kind of unique in that we're doing that. And just wondering what your thoughts might be on something like that. What it would entail is simply to ask the restaurants to gather the name or contact information of one of the parties in the restaurant and to list the date so that in the event that there was some type of pandemic or COVID identified by a patron who had been there, it would help the Chester County Contact Tracing Unit mitigate further spread.
Yeah.
And we think it helps not only the restaurants but the residents. And just wondering.
We're all for that. We're all for that, and we would definitely implement that. We, besides the cameras and so on that we have in there, if there was anything that had to be traced back, we would be able to do that. And we're all for it because, listen, we want our staff to be safe just as much as the patrons to be safe. So of course, we have we have implemented in all our restaurants now. Of course, we have to dealt with this. We were very fortunate so far that any person that has either said we lived with someone that had COVID or someone that caught COVID has never been expanded in our restaurants because everyone must wear a mask. And we immediately send all that staff out, although we can't tell them who has it because of the HIPAA rules. We will send them out and get all our employees tested and clean the entire place. We close down, we clean, we do all that. We're very careful with that. It's just nothing to play around with. As we noticed, we have 1,500 or 1,700 employees, and we want to keep them safe.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Pete, let me swear you in. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear that the testimony that you've given is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God, I do.
And you were present for the statements made by your attorney. Are they true and accurate as if testified by you yourself?
They are.
Okay, let's open it up to the public for comment. Anyone on the public have any comment?
Yes, there are several comments. So I'll read the first one. It says, you're going to approve Chicky and Pete's because that's what you do. But Chester County is not Delaware Avenue. And I did hear correctly that there have been, or did I hear correctly? I'm sorry. Did I hear correctly that that they'll be open 7 days a week from 10 to 2 in the morning? Do you really want those hours 7 days a week? Do you think that's appropriate for this community? Also, beware of a news report from 2014. And then it's from Carla Mudry, and she attaches a link that I can forward to you. And it's about a 2014 Chickies and Pete's lawsuit. There is a second comment from Barbara Ann Fav, and it says, regarding Chicky and Pete's, you mentioned the restaurant will be open 7 days a week until 2. At what time will the kitchen close each night, and will you stop serving food? What specific plans do you have to hire local?
All right, we expect to hire everyone local. The food is till midnight, and on the weekends it's till 1. I will say that we're 70% food and only 30% alcohol, and that's all Chickies and Pete's. I mean, it does vary 68 to 32. I mean, but it's very close. It never is less than 68, but it goes up to 72 in some places of food. So it's like I said before, it's a restaurant disguised as a bar. The lawsuit that you speak of had nothing to do with anything, no one getting hurt or anything like that. And you can check that out. Chicky and Pete's has been in business it's a family business. It's not a big chain corporation. My parents and me, we started it, and we've been in business 43 years. We've never had a violation underage or anything like that. So.
And Pete, you will have food until you do close at 2 a.m. Am I right?
That's correct. Well, yeah, if you sit down at 1, you're not going to get out of there until 2.
Yeah, but you can order food even up to 2 o'clock to be served alcohol.
You can order food until 1 a.m. Okay, so you can sit down at a table and order food 1 a.m. Of course, you can't finish in 5 minutes, so that's where you get to 2 o'clock.
Are there any other public comments?
No, that's it.
Oh, that's good.
All right. Well, at this time, we can close the record.
If I may, excuse me, Joe, if I may, I would like to move the 4 exhibits, the floor plan, the area site plan, and the concept renderings and the menu into evidence to be made part of the record.
Okay, and there's no objection, so I'll enter them into the record. Also, as well as the 4 board exhibits too. Any objection to that?
No objection to that.
Okay, so we'll close the record. We'll reconvene into the public meeting portion of the agenda. The resolution has already been prepared by the applicant's attorney, and it's available for your action.
I'll make a motion to approve the intermunicipal liquor license transfer for Malvern CPC. I think the location of this restaurant is appropriate. It certainly is complementary to the new Grove, which is just getting started, and unfortunately, like many restaurants, got hurt with the pandemic. So I think it'll be a positive addition to that area of the township.
The motion would actually be to pass the resolution approving the transfer.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we hope to be and intend to be a asset to the community and bring you some really good flavors from Chicky and Pete's out to there.
Thank you, members of the board and everyone. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, members. I appreciate you.
Onward to item on the agenda of number 4 with the board motions and resolutions. I'll turn it back over to Mr. McGrory to maybe comment on the ordinance pertaining to the historical commission. Any comments and thoughts on that, Joe?
I thought we were tabling that tonight.
That's off the agenda.
Yeah, we
Yes,
are.
it is. Yeah, that needs further review. This is not for public hearing, but I believe later on this evening, the board will consider an appointment to the Historical Commission.
Right.
Okay. It's on my agenda. But anyway, item number 2, I guess I'll turn over to a simple one for John Nagel, getting to the heating and the oil fuel bid.
And I will in turn forward that to, not passing the buck, but forward it along to John Neal.
Yes, this is our annual bid for heating oil and diesel fuel. The heating oil is for 3 properties that we have. Diesel fuel is for Public Works fleet. It's something we do every year at this time. It's very standard.
Right. So at this time, I'll ask Sue to entertain a motion.
I'll make what was the fuel bid for? It's a price, right? Not a total?
Correct. It's for a price.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 heating oil and diesel fuel bid.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So passed. Next on the agenda, positive things here in terms of some employment offers and some elevation. John Nagel, do you want to comment on C?
Yes, I'm very pleased to announce that I've recommended and the board has agreed to elevate John Neal to the full title of Public Works Director. He had been acting Public Works Director since about April of this year. Our long-term Public Works Director, Bill Steele, retired in the spring, and John picked the ball up and ran with it greatly. There was a lot going on. I think Scott referenced that earlier tonight, not just the pandemic, but we've had every type of significant event from a nature standpoint that I'm aware of. And John's got the crew just being proactive and responding to emergencies and just doing a great job. So I'm very pleased to recommend the elevation of John Neal to Public Works Director.
Okay, so I guess we
ask for a motion on that.
Yeah, a motion. Sue, would you like to offer that motion?
Sure, I'd love to promote John. I make a motion to promote John Neal to Public Works Director.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you
Keep
very
it
much.
up. Keep it up. I do like how your timing was to go down to on vacation during the
Yeah, it was lovely, lovely vacation. Spent on the phone.
your good time. Anyway, congratulations again.
Thank you.
It was well earned, regardless of where he was.
Next is a job offer for Jason Chairs. John, maybe you want to comment a few things on that scenario?
Yeah, actually, John Neal also deserves a lot of credit for this one. We did a recent search for some vacancies. Our department is going through a process of retirements, and so we did hire someone that stayed with us briefly. The person's going back into the private sector, so it created an opening. And with a recent recruitment that we did, we had a runner-up that came forward, and this continues to be interested in the position, very eager to please, and so believe the recommendation was unanimous. And I think we're free to say at this point, this is a conditional job offer being ratified, but I believe that Jason's passed with flying colors. And John, did he start today?
He started Monday.
Okay.
So
We're very pleased to ask the board to ratify that conditional job offer for Jason Chairs.
Sure. Rich, do you want to lead a motion on that one?
Sure. I can happily make a motion to ratify the conditional job offer to
Jason Chairs.
Jason Chairs. There we go.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Trying to make it work.
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Jason, if you're out there, congratulations. You're officially on. And next would be a job offer for Jake Bailey.
Correct. Actually, there's two pending. I don't know that we're ready yet for the second one. We have a pool of part-time firefighter EMTs that we use to supplement the full-timers, and we try to keep a core amount of hours and employees for that purpose. And we've had some, we actually had a promotion. Someone went full-time, and then we've had some people leave. So we're regularly replenishing that pool. So this is at least one conditional job offer that we're asking to ratify for a part-time firefighter EMT.
Okay. Sue, would you like to entertain that motion for Jacob Bailey?
Am I muted? No, I'm
Yeah.
on. Okay.
There you
I make a motion to ratify the job offer to Jason Bailey for part-time firefighter and emergency medical technician.
Rich, do I have a second?
Second. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Congratulations, Jacob Bailey. Next is item F, and maybe John, you can give a quick overview of the employee vacation temporary policy.
Yes, actually F and G are related, both temporary policies. The issue that we're trying to manage with F is trying to make sure that the vacations are spread evenly throughout the year. So back when the pandemic started, we set with the board's involvement, we set some parameters for employees to take vacations starting in I think it was June. Yeah, it was June and July, and then August and September, and then the last 3 months of the year, allowing a certain amount of time for employees to take those vacations, just to make sure we didn't get loaded at the end of the year with people cashing in all their vacations, and we wouldn't be able to serve our residents. So we worked all that out. I think the challenging part will be the last 3 months. We set a general rule in the policy that's been drafted that no more than 1 week as a standard for October, November, December, but we also take requests that exceed that on a case-by-case basis. So that's the temporary policy that we have before you, and we're recommending for approval tonight for ratification.
John, is this expiring in December 31st, or is this?
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
the next 4 months. Okay. All right.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Rich, can you make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to ratify the employee vacation temporary policy and the travel and quarantine temporary policy.
Do I have a second? Sue?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is part of an ongoing project being spearheaded by the Historical Commission.
Hey, Scott, I think we have one G we still need to talk about. The F and G are kind of related.
We just
We
ratified.
did both of them.
We did both at once.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can I just give a commercial on G?
Sure.
Sure.
As employers are grappling with how to deal with employee travel and quarantine, let me first say, and I probably need to knock wood, we have had minimal, I'm not going to say no because that probably is going to backfire on me. We've had minimal issues with folks that have either contracted COVID-19 or we've had to put in quarantine. So we're very proud of the employees and practicing safe health practices and respecting the health and safety of their colleagues. We analyzed, how liberal or how conservative we would like this policy to be. And again, this one is through the end of 2020, but we're not restricting people to travel throughout the continental United States. What we're saying to folks, and for the record, what we do internally is every day employees take their temperature and self-report. They also report whether they have any symptoms or anyone in their household has symptoms. And that has been part of our success story here. It's been going on probably since April and May, and we're very proud of our track record. So if someone does travel to a hot state, then they are required to come back and self-report and more actively take temperatures, things like that. But I think this is a reasonable position to take. So I know the board's already ratified this, but I thought I'd get it out there for the record. And most importantly, thank the employees for really following the rules and being considerate of others.
Okay, good points. Thanks, John. So moving on to H, which is an ongoing project spearheaded by the Historical Commission pertaining to the Gunkel Mill project. Maybe Zach Barner can chime in on this one with a short version of kind of where we are at this. This $99,965, I believe, is part of an approved amount previously, if I'm following the flow at this point in time.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct, Scott. Excuse me. Originally, the Historical Commission had provided an approximate scope of work of $150,000 to perform the wheel construction, procurement, installation, and some of the foundation and masonry work associated with the wheel installation. So this $9,000 for additional design work from Arrow was included in various aspects of that scope of work. So this is for work for Arrow to do some additional survey work, some design work for a retaining wall and a support pier to cradle the wheel, to revise some plans, and then also draft and coordinate the bidding process for the work associated with that retaining wall and support pier.
If all goes well with everything going forward, is there a completion date that we might see the wheel?
Yeah, so currently so we'll be getting started on the bidding documents. Daryl will be coordinating that with his folks from Aero. The wheel is anticipated to be completed in September and delivered in October. But currently with some of the bidding processes still has to take place, construction likely won't begin until sometime in November. So it's looking like the completion date in 2020, we'll be pushing it, but we are optimistic we'll be able to get started this year and get some significant work done before 2021.
Okay. So at this time, any other questions for Zach? I think Rich might be up here for making a motion.
I think you made the last one, not that it matters.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Sue.
All right, I will make a motion to authorize the Arrow proposal for the structural design, surveying, and coordination of bidding process for the wall and foundation work on Gunkel Spring Mill Wheel Project in the amount of $9,965.
I have a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next on the agenda is item I, ratifying the solicitations during the pandemic. And maybe Chris Yeager, you could unmute and maybe just follow my understanding or comment a little bit that this is an existing ordinance, right? And we're making some modifications due to the pandemic, that we will not want to be issuing permits for solicitation until further notice.
That's correct, Scott. And what it comes down to is any solicitation that you would have needed a permit for before the pandemic, you now will not be able to get those permits. So it's primarily what they call canvassing. So in other words, if you're going to go door to door, you need a permit in East Whiteland Township under most circumstances. I believe it has exceptions for religious and political and things of that nature. But most canvassing by private retailers and all that good stuff, what we want to do is have a temporary no permits issued. So nobody at this time. And it's basically so that people don't have to worry about someone. There's a lot of people who are concerned about the pandemic and they don't like having contact with anyone. So they certainly don't want someone knocking on their front door or approaching them in the yard and asking them about to buy or sell a certain product.
Chris, would this also include people working for the Census Bureau? I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
You may want to ask Joe McGrory, but I would think that would be an exception. But I think it might be up to you.
Yeah, I think that is an exception.
Okay.
Chris, does this have an end date or is this just until further notice?
Well, once again, I think that's up to you. That's what we're requesting now for the ratification. But I think it should be like anything else until it's no longer a danger to have, to where the business at hand outweighs the business of the safety of the residents.
Yeah,
As
I
long
think it
as-
should be,
yeah.
I think it should be open-ended until we make another motion to put it back in place.
Yeah, or at least until the emergency declaration goes away.
That could be it too.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So Rich, I'll put it out to you to make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to ratify the solicitations to temporary policy prohibiting or eliminating the ability to issue solicitations permits for as long as the emergency declaration is in place, except for related to the census.
Do I have a second?
I don't think the census needed a permit in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 5, there is nothing to consider for the zoning. We're not needing to send anyone to zoning hearing board at this point in time. Number 6, planning and development. I'll ask Zach to unmute himself at this point and maybe add some comments to these final subdivision developments.
Sure. So at the last meeting, one of the items that was discussed with the applicant for the first one here, HP Flanagan on Backton Hill Road, was their replacement tree requirement. They've offered to plant half of their 82 replacement trees at a township facility, in this case, Backton Hill Park. So there'd be 41 trees on their property, sort of at the corner of Conestoga and Backton Hill Road, and 41 that they would place in coordination with staff and the ongoing master plan for Backton Hill Park. Did whip up just a crude sketch and provided in a memo, just to show more or less what 41 trees would look like and where we might try to target them. But aside from that, that coordination will take place later, closer to when they're mobilizing on their site and when things are coming together with the park.
That'll have to be part of their escrow, right? To make sure that we have the money to put those trees in case they don't.
Right. So they'll likely be installed by the developer themselves. Likely what we'll do is have them stake out locations, do a field view to kind of adjust. But in the meantime, we'll be coordinating on species and general ideas for placement with natural land. The other item that came up sort of unique to this development is in terms of conditions of approval, are the conditions that were prescribed by the Historical Commission for maintenance of the cemetery yard. So those are included in the approval resolution. The applicant will mow the yard, repair some of the fence surrounding the cemetery, and help with some tree removal. So those are specified as conditions of approval in the resolution. Aside from that, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer. But otherwise, the resolution's been drafted and is ready for consideration.
Rich, any other further questions?
No, it's fine.
This has been around a while. So I'll entertain a motion to,
Is it my turn?
I think it's your turn, so yeah.
I make a motion to approve the final subdivision and land development plan for HP Flanagan on Backton Hill Road, SD 10, 2018. Is that 2018, really? It's been that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been round and round a lot.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you. Okay, Zach, you got 17 Spring?
Yeah, no major updates on this one. There was a clean plan last month, and it's a clean plan this month. There has been some adjustments to the landscaping plan just to install some of the what would normally be street trees that would go out along the road. There's really not a lot of site frontage on this property, so they've requested an additional waiver, what was discussed last month, to plant some of those trees sort of inbound to the site and actually provide a better landscaping plan for the future homes, for the future one home that'll be built there.
I had a question for Daryl on this one. I know Daryl's there. There was a lot of language in there about how they hooked into the sewer. Are you satisfied with what they're planning to do at this point?
Sue, that would be Chuck Faulkner and Pannoni looking at the sewer issues.
Oh,
So I really haven't looked at any of those details.
okay.
Yeah, they had originally proposed one connection. Pannoni has requested that they provide another type of connection, essentially. Just sort of a better long-term from a maintenance standpoint. So that is an outstanding comment in their letter. The approval would be granted conditional upon them installing that type of connection. So I think that
So we should make this approval conditional on meeting with the letter from Chuck Faulkner with a date on it or something like that.
Yep, all these resolutions will reference the most recent engineering review letters. So this one does reference Pannoni's letter, just like it does Arrow's.
Okay.
It's built into the resolution.
Correct, yep.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
I think it's Rich's turn.
Rich's turn.
Okay, motion to adopt resolution 2020-05 SD regarding 17 Spring Road.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next would be item C, pertaining to a extension of time for Waterwalk Hotel. Zach, I think you're still up.
Yeah, so this one's pretty straightforward. They, at the meeting in March, the hearing in March, the idea was that they would come back in April for their approval if all of their comments had been satisfied. And with everything going on, the plan has just sort of, I won't say they haven't been doing anything, but they weren't actively resolving review comments. So they'll be resubmitting here, I believe, on Monday. And we anticipate them coming back next month for seeking land development approval, having hopefully satisfied any outstanding comments.
Okay. Pretty straightforward. Sue, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the extension of time for Waterwalk Hotel until September 30th, 2020. That's LD 15-2019.
Do I have a second, Rich?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Scott, you want to do the appointment to the Historical Commission now? That's not on the agenda, but.
Sure. I'm
as well.
open.
Mark Hillball.
Yeah. So, do you want to make a motion?
Sure. Yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint Mark Hillball to the Historical Commission.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have to specify what term. Is he filling an unexpired term or a new term? What's his term?
They're all unexpired terms, but we'll have to look at them. We don't know at the moment. I'll have to follow up with that.
Okay.
Can we just amend it to a term to be specified in the next month's supervisor meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, all right. Next on our agenda would be public comments. So Donna Weichert, I'll reach out to you to see if there's any public comments that have come in that we need to address.
So there's several. So I'll start off with one, whoops. So one came in, and it's just a comment, and it says, I find it highly inappropriate that Supervisor Sue Drummond would talk about campaigning for a congresswoman like that on a supervisor's meeting. This is unfair to Chrissy's staffer because he was there to talk about Washington business and what they could do for us, not the campaign, and Sue should be more attuned to that. Services and campaign offices are separate entities. It was embarrassing. So that was one comment.
Who was the author of that comment?
The author of that comment was Carla Mudry. I'm sorry, I left that out. Then there was a comment by Barbara Thav, who was happy to see Gunkel Spring Mill work continuing to be able to bring back and to share this important historical site, to save this important site. And then there was another one that's from Barbara that says, last month while talking about Atwater Valley Creek Park Patriots Path Connector, Rich asked that we collect remaining fees in lieu of from Atwater. Has this been collected? So connector looks nice. I walked on it before the tropical.
Let me answer that. The fee has not yet been collected, but I've been in touch with the developer and the developer's attorney who promised that it would be paid as soon as possible. There will be some adjustments made. We have to determine the final cost of the trails to be installed. And so once that adjustment's made, I'm sure we'll be paid, but I was in contact with them and I was assured we'd get it shortly.
And that final cost is to be subject to our engineer's review, I assume, correct?
Yes, yeah. We'll have Daryl take a look at it.
Right.
Okay. All right. All right, Donna, thank you. Winding down here, item number 8 would be the consent agenda. I think in all of these 5 items, if I go ahead and read them in unison, and then we can vote on them, there doesn't seem to be anything unusual about them. But if someone has any questions, please stop me. Item A, approve the meeting minutes from July 8th, 2020. B, ratify the payments of bills in the amount of $641,446.93 for July. C, accept the treasurer's report as of June 30th, 2020. D, settlement approval of real estate assessment appeal, Great Valley School District versus Chester County BOAA and the Liberty Property Limited Partnership. And E, approve investment policy statements for the township's 3 pension plans, trust funds, and OPED trust fund, as recommended by the East Whiteland Township Pension and OPED Board of Trustees. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments or need any further information on any of those?
No.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. I think that would be Rich.
It's fine. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have an 11th hour addition to public comment that I would ask Donna Weicker to read.
Okay. Just a second. It's really long, so just a second. Bear with me. It is actually from Devin Chipman. It says, to the Board of Supervisors, I was told that the chief of police will be addressing solicitation permits that were revoked from 9 sales reps for whitetail disposal. This email is in regard to you revoking the permits. I'm the residential sales manager at Whitetail Disposal. We are known throughout Montgomery County, Berks, Bucks, and Northampton counties for having the lower prices and our competitive rates. We have been excited to be able to grow into Chester County, and we have just recently started sending several college students door to door to Chester to promote our business. We applied for 9 permits at the beginning of last week, and the permits were issued to us on Friday, August the 7th. When we applied for the permits, we also turned in our rules and protocol for our door-to-door sales reps that were expected to follow strictly. The sales reps are at risk of losing their jobs if they do not follow these protocols. I have attached the protocol to the email, which I can send to you guys. On Saturday, August 8th, we had 7 of the 9 permit sales reps enter the township to promote our business. They signed up 69 people. On Monday, all 9 sales reps entered the township and signed up 29 more people as of 4. Just before 4, the chief of police called our Whitetail Disposal office to inform us that all 9 permits were revoked due to some complaints that came in about sales reps not wearing masks. We immediately pulled out all of our sales reps. They met at the park where the police officer met them and took away their permits. The news of sales reps not wearing masks was shocking to us because we have been knocking door to door on counties since the state went green for COVID-19. Right before the 4th of July. We have received permits in all other townships listed below, and to this point have not had a single problem with sales not following COVID protocol. To date, we have signed up 12,815 new customers throughout the listed townships. I think this clearly shows that residents throughout these townships are happy to be having us come around to offer a cheaper price for trash. We recognize that most people do not love to have solicitors come to their door, and we recognize that we are always going to be some people unhappy with our process. But the sales numbers clearly show that there are a lot of people that are wanting to save money and are willing to talk to our sales reps. Here's a list of townships that we have received permits from: Ben Salem, Upper Makefield, Newtown Borough, Bethlehem Township, Lower Narberth, Upper Narberth, North Wales, East Allen, Lehigh, Moore, and Washington. I tried to reach out to the chief of police to get more information, as this accusation of sales reps not wearing masks is extremely serious to us, and any sales rep that is not following the protocol will be terminated from their job. The chief had already gone home for the day when I called on Monday. I left a voicemail in his phone and have not heard back from him since. I lectured the sales reps the following morning, emphasizing that the fact if anyone was caught not wearing a mask, they would be terminated. 2 sales reps spoke up and said that they had interactions where they knew the people were calling the police. In both situations, the sales reps said that they were wearing their masks throughout the entire interaction and that the neighbors could vouch for them. Then it says an explanation of the comments follows. The bigger situation of the 2 was that a lady got extremely upset and was yelling at the sales rep saying no one should be going around in a pandemic. And she followed him out onto the street. She yelled that she was going to call the police and turned around and said he doesn't have a permit from the township, so we're not aware of them even coming out, she commented. Were they revoked your permit if I complain enough? They will revoke your permit if I complain enough. And she started calling the police while the guy was still standing there. The neighbor did not sign up for this service. He wanted to think about it, but he said that the sales rep, if the police come after you, I'll be back. Something coming in. You haven't done anything wrong. Your mask has been on. I've got your back. This is what a neighbor had said. I have the exact address of the person who complained and the address of the person who would have vouched for them. The second situation was what a sales rep reminded me that she was sent Monday night. She had gotten upset. This was the text she sent. Hey, Just FYI, I ran into a super paranoid lady who does not think it's right for us to go around during this pandemic at the time. She said maybe in a year or two, we could come around the street. She was going to call the police. If nothing else is gained from this email, I want to emphasize that having our sales reps follow COVID-19 is extremely important to us. We do not want to scare citizens with what's going on, but now that the state is in green, we would like to be able to move forward with this business. In this, I would like to request two things. If we have specific information on where the sales rep or reps were and did not have their masks on, they would like proof of them not wearing their masks. Secondly, if the permits are going to be revoked, since they are individual permits, which each sales rep applied individually, it is not one company permit to whitetail disposal, they're individual. Shouldn't the guilty sales reps that were following protocol have their permits revoked, but not revoked for all 9? Please reach out to me if you have any questions. And then he proceeds to give his phone number. I appreciate you reading through this entire email, and especially appreciate your consideration. Thank you, Devin Chipman. That's it.
Okay.
Sounds like Chris needs to talk to this guy.
Well, at this point, we've just passed an ordinance prohibiting.
Let Chris talk. Let Chris say something.
I will say that I told Devin and I told the first person who I spoke to that I would talk to them Thursday after this meeting and let them know the result. And that nothing was going to change in between then and tomorrow morning. But I told them I will get back to them tomorrow morning, and I still will.
Yeah, I mean, I think we passed the ordinance, we can leave it in place for now. But if in fact the sales reps were wearing their masks, maybe we should reconsider. I mean, we've talked about solicitation for years, and it's possible for people to put up a sign that says no solicitors on their mailbox or out front if they don't want to have anybody there. I mean, that's a possibility. Or maybe we leave it in place. I don't know. But I think if these people were wrongly accused, we should get to the bottom of it.
Okay, he actually has one more thing to say. He said, I listened to the motion about the permits are not issued during COVID-19 pandemic. My previous email was not brought up. Is that legal? Well, I was in the process of reading it and passing it around first. As I believe that's similar to shutting down a hair salon because COVID-19, although the state is in green. If solicitors are required to wear face masks and social distance, then how can we stop them from being legal? Whitetail has signed up 98 of your citizens in 1.5 days of having sales. Did you receive 98 complaints? If not, then I think that goes to show that there were more people who wanted the sales reps going around than not. And more people wanted to save money than citizens that are complaining. Please reconsider. Thank you, David Chipman.
I suggest that the staff look into this complaint and get back to the board with a resolution.
There
Well, the motion you passed tonight was to not issue any permits to anybody.
Right.
You want to reconsider that motion to say to not issue any, or to not issue or revoke permits for people that are not following the CDC guidelines.
I think the method of solicitation is really what it's the heart of this. And if there's a compromised position where the company who is soliciting the business can do it other than direct contact, I think that could be a reasonable accommodation and still accomplish basically the same thing.
How can you solicit without going to the door?
Mailbox. I mean, yeah, just put something in mailboxes.
Yeah.
I mean, the next
Not
step.
allowed to
that-
put
well,
stuff in mailboxes.
yeah, it's true. Not allowed to, but
You're not allowed to. All right. We can't tell them they have to do it then.
Yeah, I mean, as these people put the whitetail trash cans in front of their houses, that alone will spread the word also. But
And
Unfortunately,
mailings.
trash collection is a 50-50 proposition. Half the people want the township to control it, and the other half want freedom of choice.
oh, well,
So,
definitely will be freedom of choice.
Well, do you want to entertain issuing the permits and then just revoking them if they don't follow the guidelines?
I'd like to know more about what the
Yeah.
situation was. Was it 2 complainants and 100 people are okay with it? I mean, yeah.
Or were there 20 and
Or was it a lot of complaints? I don't know.
I have another comment then. I have
Okay.
a comment that just came in. It says, I am one, it's from Carla Mudry. It says, I am one who complained. I didn't complain about anyone not wearing a mask. I never said that. What I said was that they did not leave when I asked them to leave. I said I found it really uncomfortable to have people soliciting during COVID-19, and I'm not the only one that feels that way. When they said they had permits to be there, I replied, I did not give them permission to remain on my property. When they pushed back on that, I said that there are enough complaints that that's how companies lose their permits, because that is the truth. I followed them to the end of my property, not out on the street. However, if I want to go out on the street where I live, I can. They went next door to my neighbors. I find it highly unlikely that he would say to a complete stranger, I have your back. I also brought a sign in that hasn't been delivered yet. So I guess she bought a sign. It is not God's given right of any company that isn't local to solicit in our township during global pandemic. And they might be signing people up, but if you read their reviews, they don't keep their customers for that long.
There's another comment too, Donna. I'm sorry. And
That's okay. I didn't see it.
keep track of all these. And it's related to this. And it's from Barbara Ann Thav. And first she says, this is to the board. Thank you for holding on solicitation permits for now due to COVID-19. Then there's a question for Chris, for Chief Yeager.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. And then the question is, if Chris could please share with the public what ID the township requires to show homeowners by solicitors so that the public is aware.
Steve,
Yes.
I didn't hear all that about.
The question is, what ID do we require that solicitors have to show homeowners?
We have an identification card that we issue at the township. That's the process. They prove who they are, and we issue they show us a background check, and as long as that's clean, we issue a permit.
even if permits are issued, does our ordinance provide for limited hours that this can be done in a normal world?
Yes, they do. It's up until, I believe it's 8 p.m.
That late, really? Wow. Okay.
Well, why don't Chris, why don't you meet with the folks that you were intending on meeting tomorrow, and then get together with staff and put together some recommendations to us, if that's agreeable to Rich and Sue.
Yeah, that's fine. We can revisit it.
Yeah, we can revisit it if there's additional information that we would change our minds, or but we'll leave it in place for now.
I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So at this point in time, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.